We are recording.
Thank you. We're back in session. I apologize for that break. But there was a pressing matter we just needed to talk about in closed session. I think we're up to the General Manager's report. Ron?
Yes, sir, we are. There are a couple of items I would like to discuss. One of them is to report to this commission our planned timeline at a high level with respect to our rates consideration process for both water and for power this year. We have been working not only as part of the cost reduction effort that we've been working on since basically a couple of weeks after I got here, in terms of trying to reduce the basic level of costs of our business wherever possible. We've also been looking at what are our costs going forward programmatically and the like, trying to get a good handle around that. And we are later this month, I think probably about the week of the 23rd, we'll be starting that public process, and we'll come out with information on our base estimate of rates, as well as programmatically be identifying other areas of costs that for which there's some policy input and discussion on that we'll have a lot of public input on. So we'll have a series of workshops through the month of June and July in a very public fashion. We'll also be collaborating with the City Council Energy and Environment Committee on that. It's generally shown up here on the board to get some good input on our rate consideration on both the water and power side, and then the expectation that our board would take action on that in early August, and then at that point it goes forward to the City Council for their consideration, with the expectation that we would be looking at action by council such that we have an approved ordinance in October and rates effective in November. So that's a timeline. We'll be laying out more information on that is in terms of the public input process here in the coming weeks, and have a very robust process in terms of getting public input on that from obviously this board, input as appropriate and desired by City Council, and of course probably most importantly from our customers, as well as the business and environmental community. So we'll wanted to make sure we were aware of that general timeline, and there'll be more information on the more granular information as we get closer to getting our information packages together for you all. I don't know if there's any general questions on that process.
Questions or comments from the board members? Just one thing, we do want to make sure, and our intent, and I think we're going to accomplish this, that this process is as transparent as it can possibly be. We may not always agree, but everyone's going to fully understand what the costs are, and then we can have debates over some of the underlying policy issues, right? Some of the things that we want the public to understand precisely what we are required by law to do, and to make decisions on things that, although not required, we believe may be important. But we can have a debate over that. We probably can't debate the issues on the legal mandates. Probably shouldn't. That would involve fines and penalties against the department, which is in no one's best interest. So we have to put that in one category. And the second category are those things that ultimately are discretionary but may impact reliability and how we deliver service. But the point is the process will be open and transparent for all to comment. Other thoughts from the other commissioners? I think we're up to public comment.
Well, actually, we have one other item here, if I could. Okay. Apologize. We're here today to. I want to point. One point we have two interrelated projects. One which was done and for which we're going to acknowledge our project team on, and another that we're just announcing that's going commercial. I had the pleasure today of being able to recognize a team of Department of Water and Power employees who completed expansion of really one of our most important transmission lines in many, many years in a timely and a very, very cost-effective manner that is a great example. What we did was the Southern Transmission Project, or STS by its acronym, upgrade project, which is expanded our Southern Transmission system by 25%. That goes from 1,920 megawatts of basically transfer capability or carrying capability, if you will, to 2,400 megawatts. And this is the transmission line that goes from our Intermountain Power project that comes into Adelanto to the east of us, and then ultimately gets into our system. We did this expansion at a fraction of the cost and an incredibly short time compared to what it would take to build an all-new transmission line. This project has this increment that we did. We're using the current project, the current transmission project transmits our coal-fired energy from Intermountain Power here. This increment allows us to bring in renewable energy, which we've been developing, as this commission knows, that we're board knows that we have the Milford 1 wind project that we've had, and it's up and operating. It went operational in 2009 at 200 megawatts. We now have the Milford 2 project, which is going to go commercially operational this week for an incremental. It's 200 megawatts this week, on top of the 102 megawatts for Milford 1. So we have cumulatively now we'll have 300 megawatts of wind that gets delivered over to the STS system here because of this upgrade that our people did. Those projects are key. They are absolutely the hub of our renewable energy program here. They're what this increment from Milford 2 will allow us to helps maintain our 20% renewable energy in our power mix as we move forward. So it's getting this line done, dovetailed in with the timing that we've done the upgrade and the additions of our renewable energy has been really a great achievement, and very proud of our staff doing this. As we go forward, we're looking at weaning ourselves off of coal, and our Intermountain Power project is one of the thornier ones in doing that, in as much as we don't own that project and we take less than half of the output of that, and we have some 30-plus other partners in that. So that's a complex approach. But that area also, thankfully, is rich in renewable energy, wind, and we have some potential for some geothermal up there as well. So we're able to, near term, be able to bring wind across this increment of transmission capability, and in the longer term have the option of being able to use some of that greater piece of that resource, of that transmission resource, to bring in more renewables. Typically, expanding, and if we were to try to go out and build new transmission capability over almost 490 miles, I mean, the permitting process alone would be half a decade. Let alone the construction time, and the costs would be extraordinary. Our team was able to complete this incremental almost 500 megawatts of transfer capability for $107 million. That's like 1/10 the cost of what it would be if we were to build it new. So it's a great move. I would like to be able to take some credit for it, but again, as so many other things here, I can take none. This all happened before my tenure. And our power system has just done a great job with that. And with that, I'd like to turn it over to Aaron Benjamin, our Senior Assistant General Manager for Power, to tell a little bit more about the project, and as well as to introduce some of our key team people.
So, Commissioners, in the world of transmission, the Southern Transmission System is like a super highway. It's a 10-lane highway. It brings almost 2,400 megawatts of energy into the city, and on average, the city average is about 3,000 to 3,200 megawatts. So you can see the importance of this line coming into the city. Also, the team that designed this, the concept of modifying the control systems and the equipment on both ends of the superhighway without touching a single tower and without upgrading any of the lines, and squeezing another 500 megawatts of capacity through the same infrastructure that we had in place was a technological breakthrough that our team came up with in order for us to make sure that this is done, as Mr. Nichols mentioned, in a fraction of the cost of what it takes to transport 500 megawatts 500 miles into the city. So the cooperation, the technical cooperation, and the innovation of bringing this project together was something that the department took the leadership in, coming up with the concept, implementing it, and as Mr. Nichols mentioned, was several of the power system and the department resources was put in place in order for us to successfully execute this project, from the Energy Control Center to the construction workforce that we had all across the city participated. Partnering with ABB, leader in this technology, was a key element, and also all the technical and the support functions that we have to bring together for us to modify both ends of the line in order for this thing to happen. Also, the staff at the Intermountain Power Project on the northern end of the transmission line, and also the Adelanto Station staff had a key role to play to make sure this is done safely and it's integrated into our system. The key element of this, as Mr. Nichols mentioned, is the beauty of having a system like this that could integrate renewables without having additional resources to firm and shape variable energy productions. And wind is pretty, when you look at the profile, it's pretty up and down depending on the time of the day, and 300 megawatts is a lot of energy to sink into the system. But based on the equipment that we put in place, the system itself is capable of absorbing this energy coming into the system without having a additional fossil fuel generation tied up to the line in order for us to firm this energy coming in. We also have 6 Southern California cities that are benefiting from this: Glendale, Burbank, Pasadena, Riverside, Anaheim. And LA is acting as the operating agent to bring the power home and distribute it to the other cities of the Southern California partners at the SCAPA family. So with that, key players in this project I'd like to recognize, and we have a whole bunch of members in here that I will quickly go over this. The project manager on this STS project was Mukhlis Bhuyan. If you could stand up. Marvin Moon, Nick Desmond, Ken Silver, and Dr. Mo Bashir, who was the initial conceptual project engineer on this project. We also had several members of as I mentioned, Atlanta Converter Station, the Civil Structural, the Energy Control Center, the Electrical Construction, General Construction, the support functions, the IT organization from the Joint Telecommunications, and the entire project management and station design and relay protection teams were involved in this. I'd like to ask you please stand up and thank you for all your service and dedication to making this project happen.
So on behalf of the board and our ratepayers and all the citizens, we really want to commend you on a job well done. It was incredibly innovative. If we could do this with the 405 freeway, just imagine how much better we would all be. So thank you so much for the work you've done.
Mr. President, can we take a picture if possible?
We'd love to have a picture.
Okay, thank you.
Please come up. How are you? Congratulations. Thank you so much for this. Yes. You guys got, we have to have 2 lines or something, you know. He doesn't.
Come on in.
See, if
We got plenty of room on this side.
If you're under 5'6", you can go front row. That's right. You can do a double roll.
Okay. The other thing, okay, this side, all you folks kind of turn this way. That way you can squeeze in. This side, all you folks turn this way. Kind of squeeze in, turn a little bit. Very nice. Okay. Come on in a little more. Good.
Breathe in.
Goodness, we got everybody in. Wow. Okay. All right, here's the first one. Big smile right here. Look. Okay, we go again. Just a couple more. Big smile right here. Okay. Do it again. Big smile right here. And one last one. That's good. Right there. That's good. Very nice. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you, Lou. Thank you.
Great work. Thank you. Good work. I think you had one more item, Rob? Did you have one more item on your report?
No more items on. Pardon me?
Is that coming up later?
I thought this was coming up later.
Yeah.
I'm doing that later.
Later.
Right. I think it was the.
I'm sorry. I think that was later. I think that's
Yeah.
not in your report.
Right. Right.
Okay, good. I think we're up to comments and requests from commissioners relating to operations. I think Commissioner Noonan. Yeah.
Thank you. I have 2 brief comments, and the first transitions very well from our recent celebration. I just wanted to thank Aaron Benjamin and his staff who toured me through the Power System ISS station on Main Street. I was incredibly impressed, not only by their individual expertise, but by their team collaboration. And not only are they very forward-thinking, but they really, really have a creative perspective to ensuring ratepayer safety, promoting tools of conservation. So it was really, really insightful, and I appreciate you and your staff taking the time to turn me around.
You're welcome.
And I also wanted just to comment on item 19, just because it's close to my heart since I served on the board of the Convention Center. And I just think that it's wonderful that DWP and the Convention Center have teamed up on so many initiatives to promote water conservation and energy efficiency. And I hope that other strategic LA projects like LAX really see the great benefits of doing so. So I wanted to commend the water conservation initiatives and the rebates that were featured in the Urban Water Management Plan, because I'm hoping that that will promote this kind of partnership in the future with other agencies in Los Angeles.
Other comments or requests from commissioners? I think we're up to public comment. I believe we have 4 cards for public
Yes, we
comment.
have some cards. Okay, the first speaker is Dr. Clyde Williams, and after that is Jack Humperville.
Dr. Clyde Williams, 4115 Barrett Road, El Sereno, Northeast LA. Also a member of the LA 32 Neighborhood Council Fire Hydrant Painting Team. Just an update, but tomorrow we'll have our neighborhood council meeting, so we'll be updating there. Probably over 200 fire hydrants have at least 1 coat of paint, if not undercoat and coating. My personal target is usually around 5 to 10 a week. We don't do many at one time, but we do them as we have time available. So we thank you very much for the paint. We look forward to more paint. Hopefully we only have about 300 more to go. However, regarding the presentation of the general manager, I didn't notice any neighborhood council meetings there. I didn't hear anything about the MOU that we have with DWP, especially regarding rates and budgets. So we're quite concerned when stakeholders are, might say, more limited than the public. And as DWP liaison with the MOU for our neighborhood council, I have to explain why there aren't any meetings, what's happening to the bill, things like that. So we're quite concerned regarding the money and where it's going, and thank you for our little piece of it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, the next speaker is Jack Humperville, and after that, Linda Romney.
My name's Jack Humperville. I'm with the Greater Wilshire Neighborhood Council. 2 comments. One, with regards to the rates. Thank you very much for the information. Reflecting on what Dr. Williams said, the MOU calls for a 90-day cooling off period, if you will, once the board approves it, and then it goes to the environmental E&E committee, I guess, or the city council. So that's just a sort of a technicality. I think another aspect of the rates is transparency. I agree. I hope it is going to be a very transparent process. I hope we have budget meetings. And as part of that, I think we need to get a much better understanding of the IBEW premium that supposedly is around $250 million, according to various other utilities around town. So I think we ought to have a very full disclosure about that issue. I think we also need a full disclosure about the pension issues, what is reported, and also what would be what would happen if you market to market, and also if you use different discount rates. I think you'd find that as opposed to being 90% funded, you'll find it around 60 to 70% funded. The second issue I'd like to talk about is Prop 26. Prop 26 was recently voted in by the voters of California relating to the implementation of fees. Does Prop 26 apply to the Department of Water and Power and its relationships with the city? Does it apply to the 8% transfer fee? Does it apply to the performance of the services, whether it is DWP performing services for the city at below market prices, or the city is performing services at above market prices? I think this is something that we all need to get a better understanding of. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, the next speaker is Linda Romney, and after that, Candido Morris.
I have some exhibits. Who should I give that to? I was here, as you know, 2 weeks ago, talking about the fact that I now have the exhibits in writing from the DWP pertaining to my water, which remains off. The first exhibit you'll see there is the adjustment policy for underground water leaks by the DWP. That particular item was concealed by management, Letice Williams, and as I mentioned previously, at the commissioner hearing, 50 minutes on the tape, she continued to state that there was no such policy. And then finally, at the very end, produced that document. Pursuant to number 1, it shows that I'm entitled to 100% discount. I'm a senior citizen, and it was an underground water leak. Number 2, you'll see there a letter from Mr. Brown, who is the Director of Customer Service, dated November 19th of last year. In his letter, he specifies that I was to get a credit for approximately $600, and they turned the water back on. Oh, I don't know. Here it is 5 months later, and I have no water. And there hasn't been the adjustment that he promised. Number 3, my letter to Mr. John Chen, Assistant General Manager, memorializing our December 710 promises for immediate correction of the bill, waiver of late charges, and a 60-day hold on the account for a HEP credit. I've spoken personally to Mr. John Chen at every single one of these meetings. He promised me that he took care of it, that he would immediately go and make sure that I received a new bill. Never received a new bill, He didn't make sure that the water was on. Item number 4, my letter again to Mr. John Shen dated 12/16, my letter dated November 18th, my letter of July 12th. All of these correspondence are unanswered. The DWP has a policy and practice of not answering their consumers. And I'm doing those requests in writing under the California Public Information Act. No response whatsoever, and no representation at those commission hearings. My last item, you'll see the letter, the bill for 4/21/11. 5 months later, finally, it shows a credit. It doesn't show a full credit for the water because I had to try to mitigate my water damages. I had to try and save 1 acre of landscaped property as best I could. Of course, Mr. Chen said he was going to give me full restitution for all the money. He didn't do anything. And the water for me is still off. You'll see the last item there. I have $297 in a letter from HEAP, coming from HEAP. That takes care of my end of the bargain, which is the full electric. What does it take for the Department of Water and Power, who puts in writing that they are going to issue credits, and then they don't do it, that they are going to turn your water
wrap
back
your
on,
remarks up,
which
please? Your
wasn't
time is
supposed
up.
to be turned off. Please, I'm asking for a full and fair investigation, and for the water to immediately be turned on. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, the next speaker is Candido Morez.
Good afternoon, Commissioners, President Sales, Mr. Nichols. A lot has happened since my last appearance here on a couple of weeks ago on the 20th. The public's #1 enemy was killed just recently. We had a royal wedding. A lot has taken place. And a lot has taken place in this city, some good and some bad. Recently, a lot of city workers have taken a beating for the mistakes of a few. But I really want to talk about some good people around here. And again, it's not to score points, but it's to talk about goodness rather than evil. I was having lunch, and I want to thank you, Mr. Nichols, for allowing us to have lunch down there. And this young lady's walking towards me, and I recognize her, and I didn't realize that this young lady, Tatiana Tiacchini, has been working with the Naval Cadet Program. And just this weekend, we were out at Fort Waimi, and the ladies group took #1 in the region. This is everywhere from Hawaii all the way to, I believe, Kansas City. And the young men's group took seconds, and one of the young men were with us last time. So again, we have all these great people that are working here at the Department of Water and Power, and I think it's time that we start promoting that rather than just seeing the negative, let's point out a lot of the good things. Today you just honored a group of individuals who brought power to this city by using their wisdom. I think those are the things that we need to have shown, because a lot of negative things are taking place. And again, I'm not trying to score any points with you, but I believe in goodness rather than evilness. Even in this building here, when I call and I talk to Arlene, Mr. Nichols, in your office, and in the Commissioner's office, when I talk to Susie and Cynthia and Orlando, they're always really nice to us. So again, thank you for bringing this department back to the people of this great city. It's been a short time, but believe me, we've been waiting for this, and we hope that these changes continue. It's a joy to be here again, Mr. Sales. It really is.
Thank you. I think that concludes
Yeah, that was the last card for #4.
public comment. I think we're going to take item 21 out of order. This is a resolution honoring Cecilia Weldon, who I say this is clearly with mixed emotions. She's going to be retiring. We are sad for ourselves, but happy for her. As I said, she's worked at the department for over 30 years. She started in the department in 1981 as a civil engineer, worked her way up the ranks. I suspect it probably wasn't the easiest thing being a female engineer in 1981. I think things have changed, we hope, rather dramatically. She became the Chief Information Officer in the year 2000 and Assistant General Manager over Operations in 2007. So on behalf of the board, we want to wish you well in your retirement and thank you so much for your service. And with that, I'll turn it over to our General Manager for comments.
Yes, well, I'd like to echo those comments and the acclaim for you, Cecilia. I was concerned that you might be electing to retire, knowing that because you started, it must have been as a child in 1981. But she's done a good job working with me since I've been here, has helped me immeasurably in terms of understanding the ropes on so many aspects of the department, because when you are Chief Administrative Officer, all the runnings of the business you touch. And I find invariably when I was trying to go find out, how does this work? Who does that? It was, well, go talk to Cecilia. I kind of only had to ask about twice, and I kind of figured that one out. So you've been incredibly helpful. Cecilia was kind enough to say that she wasn't leaving just because I had come on board. So I was pleased to hear that. You've done so much for the organization over the year and climbed up through the ladders and have done incredibly well each step of the way. You'll be greatly missed by the entire management team. I can assure you, you'll be greatly missed by me. And it's kind of incidental that she's interesting to me that Cecilia is from the Seattle area, so she's going to be returning to the Seattle area, which is where I moved from when I came down here. So we've made a balance now between in the utilities business. I kind of think Seattle got the better end of the deal. So very pleased to have you here, and I think we have a resolution here that we would like to.
If we wouldn't mind coming in for. Actually, why don't we let you make your comments first, if you'd like to? Yes. Sure. Yeah.
And I will keep them brief. Thank you.
In this kind, you take your time.
Take as much. You might regret saying that. So, I guess all I really wanted to say was that when I interviewed for this job, and I interviewed on campus, I went to the University of Washington, so I've been in enemy territory now for 30 years and survived. But as an engineer, I was interviewing with a lot of consulting firms, some in the Northwest, some other places. And when I interviewed with Water and Power, they were the two people that really seemed to like their jobs. I mean, they were happy, and they had a lot of good things to say. And I thought really hard about it. I was actually a student engineer up at Seattle City Light at the time, thinking I might stay there. But again, when I interviewed, and I thought really hard about it, and I thought about Water and Power, and it was a very large utility, I knew that. And there were opportunities there that were very unique for an engineer. It was like a big company with a bunch of consulting firms. So I thought, I never lived in LA, but maybe I'll just take a chance. And the thing is, no one in Seattle moves to LA, just so you know. But I thought it would be worth it. And that was probably over 30 years ago that I actually accepted the job. I was still a senior waiting to graduate. But in any case, this company has been more than I ever would have thought. I mean, when I got here in '81, I had visions of maybe being a division head. I mean, they were way up there. But it's provided opportunities, and I could never have dreamed of. I mean, like I say, for an engineer, and now I'm in Joint Systems, so it's a support organization. But it's been fantastic, and so I thank Water and Power. It's allowed me to do lots of things, including I met my husband, who's here. And Water and Power, it's provided all kinds of opportunities for me. And I thank all the employees that I work with. I work with some tremendous people, so I've really enjoyed that. And as Ron said, when I went to break the news to him, ironically enough, I had just come back from a meeting in Seattle. But that's when I decided it was really time to move on, because I do have a personal life I want to go to. And that's what I shared with Ron. It was for personal reasons. It was not to get away from Water and Power. It was to run to something else. And so I'm really looking forward to that. I'm very excited. I thank you, commissioners, for this wonderful honor. I did not expect it, so thank you so much. And again, thanks to the department and the great employees that work here. It's been a fantastic career, more than anything I could have dreamed of. So thank you so very much.
Once again, thank you for your service. And thank you to your husband for sharing your wife with us for 30 years. And why don't we take the picture? See you. Yes, come here.
Stand next to you.
Let's see. You know what? I'm going to get you on this side. What are you going to get you on this side? Come over on this side. Yeah.
You do that.
Yeah, you do. There you go. Much better. Oh.
More balance.
And more balance. Very nice. Very nice. Okay. Now let's look here. All right. Here's the first one. Big smile, everyone. Tilt that a little bit forward.
This one.
Yeah, that's good. Just tilt it down.
I am.
All right, here we go again. Big smile. Make sure the reflection's not in there. Still getting reflection. Tilt it up. Okay.
There we go.
And we can move that chair. Okay, straight ahead.
Say Ivars.
Ivars. Oh, okay.
Transmission on that.
Let's see here. All right. There we go. Good smile.
I'll tell you.
All right. Good smile again. Good. Good. And one last one. Big smile. Very good. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Best of luck.
Oh, thank you.
All right, you need to take this. Sir? I think we're up to approval of the minutes now.
We need to do a vote for item number 21.
Oh, we have to, oh,
I would like to
Yeah.
move to approve item 21, please.
I'll second.
are there any objections? Hearing none, the motion passes. All right, item 5, we're up to approving the minutes,
Mr. President, I need to abstain. I was not present at those two meetings.
and we're going to have to roll it over one more time.
Right.
No? Yeah, because we lost.
Yeah.
Yes, we will.
Oh, that's
I
right.
was not here on
Yeah,
the
what-
Oh,
on the
okay.
1st of
Christina
March.
left. Okay.
Okay, we'll come back to that, and we'll defer that to another meeting. So
can-
on the consent agenda,
Can we do approve the April 5th
do we
minutes?
have?
Is it just the March 1st we're having?
Roll them both.
Yeah,
Jonathan, were you here for April 5th?
I was not, no.
Oh, okay.
let's roll them both.
All right,
Okay,
thank you.
we'll defer
No,
that.
I was not here for either meeting.
Okay, we're up to the consent agenda. Now, I have no cards for the following items: 9, 10, 11, 14, 16, 17, 18, and 20. So unless one of the commissioners wants to pull one of those items, I'd like you to move those items from the consent agenda.
I'll move the consent agenda.
Second.
Any objections? Hearing none, the motion passes. I think the first item on the consent agenda for which we have a card is item 6.
Yes, the card says for 6, 8, and 28. Did you,
May I just speak at all times because it's a lot of contracts?
That's fine.
Thank you.
Yes.
I'm sorry, when?
Yes, we can take them together.
Okay,
Yes.
all right. Then the speaker for 6, 8, and 28 is Candida Morez.
Thank you, Commissioners. Again, what I want to talk about, when it comes to contracts and procurement, I want to talk about the department's policies and practices. The definition of the policy is prudence or wisdom in the management of affairs. Practice is defined as to do or perform or to habitually or customarily to make a habit of. That's the problem with our system still. We have our policies, and for years and years we've had these policies, but the practices, what's actually taking place in our stores and our warehouses, out in the field, are completely different. We need to correct those problems. They're still taking place. I warned, was here at City Council, the P-card situation. There's not enough supervision there. When you give somebody a card, there's a responsibility that goes with it. Are we having that responsibility overseen? Because, again, when you have a card and you're allowed to buy and purchase, are you getting the best price? Are you going making the right decisions? That's so important. So I hope that we'll take a look at that. Also, the salvage. I'm hoping to bring a report to you because it's very shameful in what took place in the past. The fact that we had people in salvage who were buying materials and then using it for their own personal use, and then we had people that were in the stores who were part of their scheme, and they were basically robbing the citizens of this city and wasting dollars. So we've got to be careful with that. So again, I hope that we continue these changes and that we keep an eye on. But please, there's a lot of dollars. Even the Scott Madden report showed you that we were starting to have large usage of the P cards, and we need to keep an eye on that. Also, when I was here on the 20th, Mr. President, I mentioned the issue of the cards and the gas issue, et cetera. And as you've seen last week, Mr. David Goldstein had a report, and again, sometimes I don't agree with him because he seems to target a certain group or certain issues, and this happens throughout the city. It's just a matter of policy and practice. We have policies, but the practices are much different. So again, we're working in the right direction. We continue with your leadership, and Mr. Nichols, we're headed in the right direction.
Thank you. I think our next speaker card is for item 7.
Okay, did you want to go ahead and vote on 6
No,
and 8?
I'm going to move them all together. I'll move the rest.
Oh, okay.
I'll move the rest.
Yeah, the next speaker card is item number 7, and we have one card for Jack Humperville.
I noticed the new bill looks like a great improvement. One of the things that we've seen in our company is that we have gone very electronic in issuing our bills. It saves lots and lots of money. And one of the things that we've done is we actually pay the customers or give them a credit in order to do it electronically. I would suggest that might be worthwhile for DWP. So, for example, give everybody $5, $2.50, whatever the amount of money it is, that is saved. You don't have to stuff envelopes. You don't have to print bills. You don't have to waste all the paper. The money, when the money comes back, you don't have to reshuffle it and go through all the mechanisms of depositing into the bank. I think that would be a very good incentive. It's don't look at your costs, look at what you're saving, and then pass that along to the people who are paying the bills. You'll find that it's a very beneficial use of money. Thank you.
Thank you.
I have 2 speakers for item 12. Did you want to go ahead and do the public comment? For 12?
Yes.
Okay. The first speaker is Dr. Clyde Williams, and then after that is Jack Humperville.
Dr. Clyde Williams, El Sereno, Northeast LA, number 12. What is this? It talks about long-term, talks about strategies, planning, long-term sources, future demands. Whatever happened to our infamous strategic plan? A company of $4 billion revenue, and you don't know where you're going. So how can the water management plan really reflect any sort of real strategic planning for this organization? You have a basic problem. There's going to be less and less water, more and more people. There's a lot of room for conservation. We in the Sierra Club Water Committee reviewed all of the conservation practices of all of the, or at least 95% of the districts, and found that DWP has the most aggressive conservation program as far as compliance and such, and there's room for improvement. However, if we don't know where we're going, how can we get there? I'm still concerned, the basic element, what's the strategic plan of this organization? How does water, how does power, how does other things involve that strategic plan? And what are the principles, what's the mission statement of this organization of $4 billion annual revenue? I spent 6 hours of my time during the last 3 years attending strategic plan meetings, and I could have better spent it painting fire hydrants. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, the next speaker is Jack Humperville.
Following up on Dr. Williams' comments, over the next 10 years, DWP's draft of a preliminary plan indicated that the water side was going to spend $15 billion. That's a huge amount of money. We were also told when we had various workshops with regards to the urban water management plan that before it was approved, we would have a detailed outline of what the rates are going to be. There's no rate information in here. You know, that was part of the deal when we went through these conversations, and Mr. Buechner told us a number of times that that was going to be the fact. There are no rates in here. There's also no mention about the water rate adjustment factor, which was $64 million that was stolen from the ratepayers without any consultation with regards to the ratepayers and or the city council. So before approving the urban water management plan, which is a lot of very good and hard work, I think the board needs to get a better understanding of what the financial implications of this and the specific implication are on rates. Thank you.
Okay, that was the last speaker card on number 12.
I think we have one speaker card on item 13.
Yes. Okay, the speaker for 13 is Jack Humperville.
Several years ago, the Department of Water and Power purchased the fiber optic system from the city for, I believe, a number of $20 million. We were never able to figure out how it fit with the Department of Water and Power, but I guess the city needed the money. Over the last several years, the fiber optic system has been on the agenda a number of times for approving various contracts. As a result, the Oversight Committee made the declaration that the fiber optic system was a significant issue. However, we have not received any information back on regards to the fiber optic system. So we would appreciate getting detailed information in a well-prepared report that outlines the extent of the system, how it fits with DWP structure, the extent of its its revenues from the city, third parties, as well as DWP, and its cash flow and various projections. Thank you.
Okay, we have a speaker card for item 15, I believe is the next one. And that's Jack Humperville.
Jack. I think you're getting your exercise going back and forth.
I could use a little bit of that. Usually I don't comment on specific contracts of this nature. However, the other day I received a call from an acquaintance who indicated to me that this contract was, was very expensive, and that the services that are under this contract could be more efficiently provided by private contractors. This individual said that the price was probably about a third higher than would be suggested by private parties. I don't know much about helicopters, but I always get very suspicious when the city and DWP are starting to do business together for, I can't imagine why. But was this contract put out to bid? And is it subject to Prop 26? Thank you.
Okay, the next speaker card I have is for 19, and that's Mr. Humperville.
This is the last one, I think.
I understand the need for efficient chillers down at the convention center. However, there are certain questions that I have here. Is under the plan, they say that it's a $15 million program at max. Does this just apply to the Department of Water, to the city and the city family of companies, or does it apply to third parties? I also wonder about the contract, with regards to working at the convention center, given all the swirl that's going on with the NFL stadium. Is this part of this going to be part of the West Wing that's going to be torn down? Where is all, what are the specifics? Also, is this deal guaranteed by the city? Is it secured by the chillers? And the final thing I saw is that at a rate of 6.4%, that seems to be a pretty rich rate for the city and the convention center to be borrowing at. However, if the city is a junk credit, which I think some of us would probably agree, maybe that's not such a bad rate, and maybe the city doesn't have the availability there. I guess we'll find out when they issue the tax and revenue anticipation notes in June and July. Thank you.
Okay, that was the last speaker card for the up to item 20.
Okay. So on the consent agenda, we now have items 6, 7, 8, 12, 13, 15, and 19. Is there a motion to approve those or comments?
I have one comment, actually, responding to one of the public comments about the fiber optic network. It probably would be a good idea to get a report on what's going on with the fiber optic network. So maybe for the general manager, if you could arrange to have that for the board at some point in the near future.
I can do that. Just one, there's kind of two important, very separate functions of our fiber optic system. And one of those is its main feature, and that is for our use in communications and our operations of both our water and our power system. And it's only really largely incidentally to that that we then lease out dark fiber for commercial purposes at an established tariff that we use for that. Happy to get a report back to you on that. There is just in advance would warn you with regard to the operation and the use of that system. There's a lot of security issues in and around that. We have and it's not only just looking at that from what we think is important on that, where there's a very strict set of federal criteria that have come up associated with cybersecurity issues and such that we report to regular. In fact, we just had a review, I guess it's a biannual review, if I recall it right, maybe it's an annual review of our cybersecurity with regard to that. So there will be, in terms of describing in great detail what it is, where it is, and how it functions as it pertains to our system, would have to be fairly limited. But irrespective of that, I think we can break out things with respect to its basic function, what its costs are, and what we're receiving in the way of outside revenue associated with the use of the incidental use, if you will, of our dark fiber.
That'd be excellent. Use your discretion on the security issue, of course.
Yeah, I think that's a really good idea. I think we've got several really very worthwhile comments today. One that struck me, and I think one we should really think about, is the electronic billing.
I agree.
I think we should take a hard look at that. I mean, I know there's a cost associated with that in terms of augmenting the CIS system, but I think that's something in this notion of sharing the savings with the ratepayers, one that just has a lot of merit in my mind. So maybe we could at least a preliminary report to the board on where we are on electronic. I know it's part of a bigger issue, but just give us a sense of on that narrow issue.
No, I agree, Mr. President. I think the comment's a good one. I think we need to follow up on it, and it may very well have some merit, and look through how that works for us.
What would the impact be on signing a 3-year contract before we explore that?
As it pertains to the
envelopes. Is there a 30-day out from that contract?
I'd have to double check on that. Most of our contracts do have a termination provision on that. I don't know if, I don't think we.
I'm sure it does, but we can check. It's usually a 30 days written notice to cancel.
Mr. Anselmo, is that right?
Well, in this particular contract, what we have is we have a minimum purchase guarantee. And we're talking about contract 233, right? And it's a 50% minimum. Yes.
This is on item 7. Yeah, 233, yeah.
Item 7, right? Yes. So if you look at the first page of the board letter, towards the bottom, it says that the UAP agrees to purchase a minimum of 50% and a maximum of 125%.
Well, customers would have to opt in, first of all, electronic billing. Right. So even if 10% of the customers opt in, we're still going to need envelopes. I mean, this is not going to happen all at one point in time. So I think there's plenty of room to save money and move forward until we can get things changed.
Agreed.
All right. Other
just as a quick point on that, I believe our current electronic billing is about 20%. 20,000. Yeah, pardon me.
So it's a very small percentage.
So I think the likelihood that we would get a ramp up that would get over 50% of our people in 3 years is pretty unlikely.
On the other hand, financial incentives make a difference. Right?
No. My only point. Yeah. No, my only point is in as much as we have a minimum take that's less than this. So let's assume it's like a year and a half's worth, but it would be spread over 3 years. I think that we're not entering into a contract that sounds like we're going to be having buggy whips in the form of envelopes. That is, we can cut back if we need that. If we could grow our electronic building to being anything close to 30, 40, 50%, that would be a phenomenal sea change. And if we could make an incentive that's a win-win for us and our customers to do that, great. I don't think that makes this this envelope purchase something that we're going to have suddenly dust on envelopes.
I think that's right. All right, is there a motion to approve the matters on the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Any objection? Hearing none, the remainder of the consent agenda passes. We are now up to item 22, I believe.
Yes.
Who's going to present that?
I'll present it, Commissioner. Item 22, Commissioners, is the maintenance management system that we're recommending award to Total Resource Management. And just a background on the system, as you know, the department's assets are distributed, in 3 major functions of the power system and also on the water system: the generation assets, the transmission assets, and the distribution assets. There's about 150,000 pieces of equipment that are associated with these systems that needs to be managed. About 7-8 years ago, we started consolidating systems that different divisions and different generating units and transmission systems had in place, for us to bring them all together under one platform where we can have a common understanding of assets, numbering, the hierarchies, and also making sure that we do trending failure code analysis and information on diagnostic information and other system-related issues that are all brought to a asset management system that we could look at and also dedicate resources to take care of the system needs. What this contract would do is bring both water and power systems together on the same platforms in order for us to share resources across the systems and maintain assets in a way that we could trend it. We could look at the future needs, spare parts, dedicate material staging for each of those jobs, and also make sure all the common corporate platforms are unified. The timekeeping system, the vehicle reporting, the tracking systems are all tied together. This is a joint effort between water and power and the IT resources, and material management is involved in it when it comes to the warehouses and organizing. This contract is going to bring us up to the new version of the software with all these information system being consolidated into one platform.
I would like to add just a comment to that. One of the things that, as we've been looking at what we can do to reduce our costs, pardon me, to reduce our costs and get our better handle on our assets and how they're being used and our ordering times associated with them and the volumes that we should be ordering and the like. This system is key to that, updating that and providing us much more timely information, better information associated with the assets that we have out there and their disposition, their age, et cetera. So it's an important piece of our overall continued effort to try to do things quicker, smarter, and cheaper.
Questions or comments from the board? Commissioner Parfrey?
I'd like to move to approve.
I'll second.
Any objection? Hearing none. Item 22 passes. Item 23, is that, who's going to present that? Aram or? No.
Marty?
Jim.
Good afternoon. Marty Adams, Director of Water Operations. This is the contract for the design work for our Phase 7A project at Owens Lake. This is a contract with CDM to provide engineering services that will be necessary to have it in compliance and complete by December 31st, 2013. So this is a sole source contract based on their competitive selection on the most recent awarded contract on the lake. They've increased their subcontracting opportunities beyond what we asked. We have about 22% subcontracting with 12 different firms working with them on this. This is awarding this contract is probably the only way that we can get this part of the compliance done in time to avoid further penalties on the lake.
Why don't you lay out the time deadline? So
our time deadlines, they've committed that, and actually we have a GM awarded contract in place right now, so we've started planning work for this phase. They've committed that within 6 months we'll have the major design work done so that we can issue construction contracts for this project. That'll give us about 2 years' time, maybe about a year and a half time to do the construction. We have to have Phase 7A, the 6 remaining areas that were unfinished previously, and then also 3 miles of transition. So a total of 6 miles of area, because we're transitioning some areas to get water to spread differently on the lake. So there's 6 square miles of work on the lake bed, and that work has to all be done by December 2013.
And if we don't meet the date?
If we don't meet that, then we're facing $10,000 a day maximum fine. And we understand Great Basin will go after us for the maximum fine if we don't complete this.
Now, I note that the contract goes for 33 months, so the consultants will be on during the construction phase
Right,
as well.
exactly. And one of the things, there's always submittals that they have to review from the construction contractor. There's inspection work. They would be the engineer of record, so they need to be retained. So most of the work will occur in the next 6 to 8 months, and when submittals are coming in, but we will retain them on contract during the course of construction. And this is it's a task order contract, so we issue task orders for specific design work. This is a maximum amount that we would spend on the contract. We may not spend the whole amount. We're not obligated to spend any more than what we need to get this done. But this is the outside of what we believe we'll need to get the work done.
Commissioner Holland?
Mr. President, I move approval of item 22.
Second.
I don't like sole source contracts, but in this situation, I think if we don't do this, we really will there'll be a high likelihood that fines will be imposed. And the fact that they've done work before puts them in a real advantageous position, so we at least have a fighting chance of meeting our obligations. So for that reason, I'll reluctantly support this. But I think we quite frankly had little choice in this situation. So, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Okay, motion passes.
Thank you.
We can take 27 and 28 together. You guys are becoming all too familiar on this, Not that we don't like your smiling face, but
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Gary Wong, Director of Operations Support Services. Back with, first of all, specification number 7100, which is for pickup trucks. And to go back to the previous 2 meetings and to try to bring some context and answers to your questions. First of all, we went back and talked to Ford and some Ford dealerships to see what was the interest in contracts like this. And what Ford indicated to us is that for government contracts, typically there's only a handful of dealers that have specific departments to look at government opportunities and then to respond to what are, in one sense, distinct fleet requirements as opposed to the fleet requirements that you would see in commercial fleets, because we have a certain bid process, we have certain documentation that's required. For the dealerships that did respond, one other thing I should mention, I think part of the reason for the number of dealerships that are interested in government contracts is that given the current economy, there are probably fewer opportunities in terms of the reductions in the government sector. So when you look at the dealerships, what they cited was that as reasons for not responding was that typically it takes dedicated staff. You have to have a little more infrastructure in terms of receiving vehicles, prepping them, and you have to have people who are trained. Now, there were, I believe, 5 dealers who indicated they would have submitted responses. One cited family emergency, another cited disability, one couldn't get the necessary signature, and another one had a major subcontractor drop out at the last minute. So from a dealership standpoint, those were the responses. And then when you look at this specific bid, some of the things that we looked at from a historical standpoint, because there was a question regarding Wandries and Reynolds. So we went 5 years back. And in 5 years, there have been 25 opportunities of $1 million or more. Wandries has received 3 awards. With those 3 awards, there have been 2 different spec engineers, 2 different buyers. Total amount of awards for Wandries is about 12% out of a total of 12% or $13 million out of a total of about $114 million. For Reynolds, there were 4 awards during this 5-year period. With those 4 awards, there were 4 different spec engineers, 4 different buyers, total about $9 million, or 8% of the total of 25 opportunities. Of the 25 opportunities, 16 different vendors received awards during this 5-year period. And this is only for the awards of $15 million or more, which accounts for about 90% of the total contract spend during this period of time. When we look at what's being proposed to be replaced, these are the vehicles in which the current cost of operations on an average annual basis exceeds the cost if we were to go out and buy new equipment. From a rental standpoint, we could look at rental, but when we did a analysis of a financial analysis, what we're looking at when we compare to rental versus purchase is we're going to get our essentially cover our investment in about, I think, 27 months. On a net present value basis, we're looking at a approximately minimum of $14,000 per vehicle in savings when you purchase versus rent. One of the significant items about the vehicles that we're looking at is that there's a gasoline savings. Since January 2011, our gas costs, just for unleaded, have increased by 30%. Based on the calculations for these specific vehicles, we're looking at approximately 25% savings in gas consumption. I hope those are the majority of the questions.
I think those are all very helpful. Comments or questions?
Just a question on the units that are being replaced and sold through auction. Are the dealerships going to help us with that auction process, or are we doing it? And B, do we have an approximate value of what we'll get?
The department has its own contract for salvage, so they will be sent to the salvage contractor based on the last group of salvaged vehicles. I believe the estimate was somewhere in the neighborhood of $800 per vehicle. And part of the reason is because we are salvaging.
The average mileage is 113,000 miles, right? So I think that's
correct.
Others? This is a tough issue for us because there's so much money involved. But I think at this point in time, You've scrubbed it as much as you can from my perspective. I think I understand the rationale. I think we've looked at other options. Also in terms of what was pressing, I think some of the commissioners, particularly Commissioner Noonan, was to make sure that we got bids from as many parties as possible. I mean, ultimately, all we want to do is really get the cost down. That's our goal. On the other hand, we don't want to put our workers in jeopardy from a safety standpoint. So I'm at this point prepared to move forward. If there's is there a
well, I just want to have one comment, then I'll go ahead and move for approval. But two issues came up in our last commissioners meeting. One was there was an expediency to approving the contract because of the model year. Are we still within the time frame to get, if we approve it today, to get the orders in for this model year?
I believe we've received letters from both vendors that they'll honor the prices. It'll be close.
Okay, and the second issue that came up is that there are annual purchases for the fleet. So what I would recommend to those who are going to go into the contract and pursue this for next year is that we be given this kind of information on the first go-round rather than having to kick it back several times, because I think the first presentation was really woefully inadequate, and this one is much better, and it has much more of a reason and rationale behind what the need is in terms of the fleet. So I just want to throw that out there. And with that, I'd like to move for approval.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
I want to associate myself with the comments of Commissioner Moss. And I want to add the fact that bring these things earlier rather than later. Right. So I've said this 3 or 4 times, because at some point in time, I'm going to promise you we're going to send it back because you claim it's exigent circumstances, and if it's department manufactured, it's not exigent from our standpoint. So sooner is better than later.
Understood.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries. Thank you.
And to clarify, that's for both items.
27 and 28.
27 and 28. Good. Okay. You got off, finally. We'll see you early next time.
Yes, you will.
You might want to come in next meeting.
I think we have got filed items here.
Yes, I have one speaker card.
Oh, I'm sorry. For number 28?
Filed items 24.
I'm sorry?
We're on filed items.
Yes.
Right?
Yes,
So-
for item 24, which is 24?
24A is the speaker card.
And there's one for 25.
Yes, and then there's one for the management reports under 25.
Okay. Who's the speaker for 24A?
24A is Dr. Clyde Williams.
Is Dr. Clyde, is he also 25?
Yes, he is.
Well, then you can speak to both items, sir.
Will there be a presentation first?
No.
No, not on filed items, no.
No? Okay.
Okay.
So then
All right.
we have filed items 24A, B, and C.
Who's going to move those?
No, we just,
No, don't need to move. Those are deemed filed. The management report.
yes, I do have a speaker card for Ms. Dr. Clyde Williams on item 25.
Oh, he spoke on both.
Oh, you didn't want to speak on?
Yeah. Unless you, yeah.
Okay, all right.
Is there anything else, Madam Secretary?
No, there's,
I do want to just remind folks, I think it is important that we follow up on the point that Commissioner Moss raised about the fiber system. We get a report on that. And secondly, one on electronic billing. I think those are two really, there are other comments, but those in particular I think we have to follow up on.
We indeed will.
Okay. Other comments? Okay. Does anyone just want to stay here until 4 or 5 o'clock? So,
Well, we have our closed session as well. Yes.
What is the closed session on here? Did we move that earlier?
26 was early. We've done the closed session, yeah. Do we need anything else, Mr. General Counsel? No. All right. Thank you all. I think the meeting is adjourned.